Hi everyone, I'm Jody Barrows. Welcome to our class today. We so much enjoy having you join us and us showing you all kinds of things quilting, keeping you motivated, educated, excited, and your skill levels just continue to just get stronger with more muscle, more power. And that means that you're excited about quilting and you are feeling confident to jump in there and try a new project, a new technique, or a new option. And the options are the triangle units that we have with the square in a square system. We are up to almost 50 options, and it still excites me almost 40 years now that one tool, one ruler will make all of the units for you, and that's the original ruler. So if you don't know anything about square in a square, just stick with us. We're going to show you two options. Well, you're going to see three options today. Option 1, Option 3, and Option 4, which are the main options. It's the core of the system. And if you want to learn more, just keep looking here on YouTube, on our Facebook page. But we have a very special website. It's a teaching website. It has all of our videos in it. Like today's video, in 30 days, it's going away on Facebook, but you'll be able to find it in our special teaching website, and that is squareinasquare.net. There's multiple sections in there. There's the webinar section, which is like where this video will go. Then we have our Quilt Club Week, and then we have our Premium Club. We are getting new members every day for Quilt Club Week and for Premium Club. If you join Premium Club, Quilt Club Week is a part of that, so you don't have to worry about going in and joining it. You're automatically in Quilt Club Week. And next week on Monday, if you're on our email list, then you're going to get email newsletters about what's happening, and you'll stay up to date on when we're having classes, what time they are, what we're teaching, and so on. And we have the little downloads for you, the PDFs that have our schedules on it, we have our schedule planned all the way to the end of the year. So if you want to know more about what we're doing and when, then get on the email list, check your emails if you are, or just email us and say, hey, I need help with that list, either finding the download in the PDF, or we can just send it to you like that. It's in all your emails. So if you're getting emails, just go in and check your emails. We have been putting all of these in there. So this week, we only have class today. I don't have class the rest of this week. I am working on our semester quilt, which I will be showing you, I think, in 2 weeks. And getting everybody started for Premium Club, which we will start right after Labor Day on that. Next week, though, we do have 2 classes. We have class on Monday the 18th, and I'm going to do a trunk show of Quilt Club Week quilts. So we've been doing Quilt Club Week since 2020. So we have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and now of 2025, this will be our 6th one. So when you join Quilt Club Week or Premium Club, you can go in there and start watching the past classes that we've had over the past 5 years, and then be ready to go for this one. That starts the last full week of September is when Quilt Club Week is. And on Monday next week, I'm going to do a little trunk show. I'm going to show you some past quilts that we've done, and I'm going to show you some projects, they're future projects because they're ones that we're going to do in September of 2025. So that is what we're doing next week, Monday the 18th and Tuesday the 19th. Tuesday the 19th, we're going to do Double Star and Pumpkin Star, which are made with fall-looking fabrics. So we always say fall-inspired. But remember, you can take any quilt pattern, any quilt design, and use any fabric with it. And as long as you have contrast in those fabrics that you've chosen, you'll have a beautiful quilt. So don't think just because you saw a quilt, a certain pattern in a certain color or a certain style, that you have to make it like that. And today I have a perfect example of that with 2 different quilts that I have made from the same pattern. And that pattern is called East Meets West. So this one behind me right here, this one was made with more vivid fabrics, and it is from the East Meets West pattern. We've used a focus print fabric. How many times have you gotten a piece of fabric and you wanted to use it as a large piece? Well, here you can see how we've done that. We've used it in the blocks in the corners and center, and then we've added it over here in this block, and it just, like I said, look at the contrast. That's all you need to think about when you do color is contrast. And then let's look at this one, which is the original one of the East meets West, and it's named that because the Eastern Railroad pushed forward, the Western Railroad pushed towards it, and they met. East meets West. And this is a panel, and sometimes we think that when we have a panel, we have to use it all as a whole piece. And obviously that's, you know, kind of the way panels are made, but think about cutting it up and using it in the quilt. You still get the beauty of the panel, but you get a little bit more pizzazz and more oomph from that panel by cutting it up and also using even the small pieces of it in the quilt. So we're going to look at the East meets West on both of these. These are fabrics and kits and patterns that you can find on our website, and our website is squareinasquare.com. Now the squareinasquare.com is where all the products are, and there could be a video with that product. For example, the Grande ruler. If you want to know what that ruler will do, go to squareinasquare.com, go to the Grande ruler, and watch the video with it, and you can see all the different things that you can do with the Grande ruler and why we call it the multi-purpose ruler. So we have lots of videos to help teach you. There's also a special place on the website, and Steve, you might have to help me with this, about where you can find out what options are in what books. Is that what it is?
Yeah, just type the
Or
word
patterns?
options on squareinasquare.com, and you'll get a
In the
page.
search bar, put options.
It looks like a product,
Uh-huh.
and there's links there that show you where the books are and where the options are. And if you download it, it's also a clickable link. You can download it and just have it on hand. You'll need to have it on a device that will link it.
Yeah.
But you can print it out too.
Yeah, okay, so that's really cool to know where the options are, what books they're in, and it's a really nice page to help organize. He's going to see if he can't load it in on the text right now for you so that you can see it. We try to do as much as we can to make your experience with your quilting and with us as fun and educational and helpful as possible. Now also remember, we have the Quilt text hotline. The Quilt text hotline is 817-713-2879, and the Quilt text hotline is when you need help with quilting. If you need help finding something on the website or anything about an order, or can I change an order, all that, please go to the email and do it. Don't do it on the Quilt text line, and certainly don't put it on Facebook or YouTube in the comments. It is so hard to find them, follow up, and give you links and all of that kind of stuff to help you to the max. Please use the email. Please use the Quilt text hotline, okay? And if you have any questions about that, just holler and we'll help you with it. If you send on the email a quilt help, then what happens is that we have to try to find a textable phone number for you, which takes more time, and then Steve does all that, and then he gives it to me, and then I load it in the Quilt text hotline number, and then I make a video or give you whatever kind of quilt help you want. So if you can think about the Quilt text hotline is for quilt help, and the emails is for anything that you have to do in the computer, okay? Find something on a website, something shipping with your order, and so on. If you could help us stay organized and use those in those two different categories like that, it'll help us help you faster. If you ask me on Quilt text about where to find something or something about an order or can I change an order, then I have to go over to Steve and get him the info so that he can help you. It slows us all down. So if you can remember that. And then also those of you that are new, it's good for you to know the system and how we use it so that it's for your best experience and learning and help and all of that. So, okay. All right. So Quilt Club Week is coming up. Get signed up for it. Next week on Monday, I'm going to show you quilts that we've done in the past and talk about some of the classes that we've had and show you some of the quilts of this new year of 2025 that we're going to do. And besides quilts, there's machine quilting on your regular domestic tabletop sewing machine. There's craft sewing. There's funny things, bloopers, it's just a fun time to go. We also have a category on the Quilt Club Week that, is it called Textiles Around the World? Is that it? And we show you other countries, other places with fabrics and...
We're putting them all together for this year.
Quilts around the world, it'll all be...
But they've been in other video places.
Right, but it's called, that category's called Quilts Around the World?
I think it's quilting
or Textiles Around the World.
Quilting or quilt textiles around the world.
Yeah, so we'll have all of those in there. So other countries, fabric stores, you know, just the whole thing about textiles and fabrics from other countries. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, so the Square and Square system is all about speed and accuracy. Having fast, fun, fabulous, and finished quilts. And that's what we've been doing forever. I think it is so funny. And it's aggravating. On all the different social media platforms, we've been doing a lot of little short reels and stories and pop-ups and all of that. And people who know nothing about the Square and Square system will come on and tell us we've trimmed it wrong, we've got bias edges, you don't know what you're doing, all of that. When I wish they would just take a little bit more time to investigate the Square and Square system and realize what is awaiting them if they will just have an open mind and jump into learning it and thinking about it. They will be able to produce beautiful quilts and become the piecer that they've always dreamed of. That's why we do this. We do this so that you can achieve that success in your quilting and become better. No matter what level you're at, no matter what experience you've had, you can become a better piecer. And that's what the Square and Square system is all about. So today we're going to talk about some of the, today's video kind of started with the railroad fabrics and the railroad quilts. So we have 3 quilts from the railroad fabric to show you. I have others, but some of them I have sold, and one of them is just so huge that we did from Premium Club. It's really difficult to show in our video studio. So that one you can see in Premium Club of the railroad. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do the East meets West. My samples are here in this particular fabrics of the Paradise, and then we have the railroad one over here. Now the railroad one, and I'll show you the panel in a little while, but the railroad one is actually from the panel, and it's cut into these 5 large pieces for the corners, and then we've used the rest of that panel inside here to help make our blocks. So I really want you to think about, what does it look like if you do what I call explode your panel? That means you're going to cut it and you're going to explode it out, and you're going to do some piecing around it and have a beautiful, beautiful quilt. So that's what we did here on this one. And this one has option 1s and option 4s. Option 1s are square and squares. Option 4s are half square triangles. Now the other thing about these quilts that I want you to think about is the setting block. Everybody needs 1 to 4 setting blocks that are go-to blocks that you go to, because so many times you have a, I'm going to say, a block of the month, or you see a block that you like, and so you make some of them and you're thinking, how am I going to set these together to make it a big beautiful quilt? And having these settings blocks so that you can put them in your quilts, really already in what I'm going to say, your toolbox, your arsenal, your quiver, whatever. If you already have these in there, then they're great go-to blocks that you can do. Now what I love about this particular block is how it runs through the quilt and connects it and gels it all together so it looks like one big beautiful quilt. And then here on this one you can see how, and same thing, it just runs through the quilt And it just makes them beautiful. And it's just the block that does it, and then how the corner of the block connects to the other block, how they're set alternate or opposites, or however you want to word that. And the quilt really becomes all about the setting block, because that's what you see and what brings you in to look and study the quilt a little bit more. So let's look down here at the very first block, and it is very easy, very simple to do. We just have the panel that's been cut up or exploded out with just some side rectangles and half square triangles in the corner. So of course those three come together to make a row. These three come together to make a row. And let me move it up just a hair. And then of course the bottom is just like the top. Those three come together and make a row. Now, if in Farmer's Wife, which is a semester project that we did in Premium Club, it was all about pattern adapting, and we broke every block down into what we call a 9-patch or 4-patch block. So this one is a 9-patch block. It's a 9-patch setting because you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 6, 9. You have 9 patches or sections or units that are coming together to build the block. And this is a great one, like I said, to have a focus print. So we've kind of fussy cut the bird of paradise to be right here in the middle of the block. And we're going to talk about these half square triangles here in just a minute, but you can see how those go together. These three go together, and then those three. And here's the block all sewn together. So this is a block that you'll have, and you will do it 5 times if you're making the quilt the size that we are. So let's look up here at our quilt again, and let's look and see where this block comes from. So this block is in here. Just go to that first set of triangles in the corner. Let me get my little white papers out that we use. So there you can see the block right there, just like that. And then the interaction of the 2 blocks and the setting blocks come together to make this beautiful little half square triangle section where they all come together. So here you can see it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then the 4 and the 5. So it's really easy to increase your quilt if you want to make it larger than this. Just go on in and add, you know, this, just alternate and keep adding on the width and the length, and you can make your quilt larger. So we're going to come in here and do these half square triangles in just a moment, but I want to do the options in order with my samples. So here in this one once again is a 9-patch setting. So here you have 1 section, 2 sections, 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then you do anything inside of that square you want, anything inside of that section or square, anything inside of this one. This is like breaking it down into grids. Then the middle section is, these are half square triangles in option 1. See how we've done some different colors. And then this one here is just all option 1s. Here's an option 1. Square and a square. Here's an option 1, square and a square, and then an option 1. And then of course the bottom repeats the top. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is a 9-patch setting. So we could actually go in here, and inside any of these sections we could do anything we want. Whatever combination of geometric shapes or units you want can go inside these corners, inside the center section, and this one. Here you see how all 3 of these are the same size, all the same. Let's say if this is a 12-inch block and you have 3 of these, then each one of these is going to be a 4-inch sewn section. And then you can put inside that 4-inch section anything you want. Now this one here was the 9-patch. We looked at it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But look how the size of the shapes change. They're not all the same. Of course, the corners are the same, and these rectangle ones are the same. And of course, those match up to this, and those match up to the short side there. It's still a 9-patch setting. So think how you can just take whatever size of unit that you want and divide it into a 9-patch, whether they're even, like a tic-tac-toe, or you expand them out and make them different. Okay, so for this one here, we have an option 1 in this color combo. So here you can see the gray on 2 sides, black on 2 sides, and then your paradise pink in the middle. Now, before I forget, we have, for the month of August, we have 21 different fabrics on sale on our website, and some of this paradise here is on sale. So go in and check out the different fabrics. Or you can order this as a kit, however you want to do it. So these are option 1s, and then this one here in the middle is an option 1. And everything we do starts out just like this. This is what we call a basic square. Square in the middle, strips on the side. Now, the different ways you trim it up, it turns into your option 1 square and a square. It turns into option 3 flying geese. It turns into option 4 half square triangles. But everything starts out just like this. So if you can cut a square and sew strips on it, you can do this, and you can get beautiful quilts like this. Let's see, I'm counting 20. There's 44 pieces in this block, and they all come out of here. We have 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1 of these, and we're going to have 2 of these that make all of our half square triangles here in just a moment. So to do the option 1, we want to leave 1/4 of an inch on all 4 corners. Now this is what we call our mini, and it's not because it's only does miniatures. I mean, this is a 12-inch block, and it's making it. But it's so convenient to hold in your hand and to use, and I like this rectangle shape so much on it. It just really makes it nice and easy. Plus, you have this 4-inch corner square right here in the corner that you can come in and check. It's already in your hand, it's already on your table, so you just pick it up and then you can check these other things, or if you're trimming something, squaring it up and so on. Now, to cut these so that we have that 1/4 of an inch, see, we need that 1/4 of an inch off of all 4 of those corners. This one has not been sewn, so you can still see it, but we have seams here, here, and here, so you can see how those points come together and are nice and sharp. So I'm just going to put the tip of this 90 right into the tip or corner of my center square. These black lines are just going to go right down over the seam. And this grid line right here will go right through that point. And when you're doing your very first cut, see, you have 4 corners, so you're going to have 4 cuts before you get to your option 1. You want to start with the best one and make sure that you're working with that best one, because once you make this first cut, that is the line that you're going to keep these outside edges square so that everything is centered inside the way that it should be. Now, I want you to look at these fabrics. People always need so much help with color, but I always talk about how it's contrast. Do you have a contrast between your colors? Obviously, in this one, it's very important for the black to show up. So everything that is going to be next to the black, you need to have a good contrast so that the black jumps out or pops out and creates the design. Or you could say that it's your dark. Whatever is your dark, you want it to have a good contrast. Then the other color, we want it, the gray is acting as the background. We want it to add and enhance the quilt, but we want it to kind of blend into the background. That's why we call it the background. And then with these pinks here in the middle, you can see how you get this beautiful pink design that pops up. It looks like a big pink square is underneath the star, and it's kind of showing through or peeking through in those colors. So the black would be our dark, the pink would be our medium, and the gray would be our background, and the aqua is what I would call accent. It's not that you want to use it all over the block or all over the quilt. You use it as an accent to help enhance the fabrics and the blocks. So every time I'm picking fabric for a quilt, And we talked about this last Thursday. We did a hour-and-a-half long video on the new fabrics and the current fabrics that go with them, and showing you the sale stuff, the 21 fabrics that are on sale now, and how they will blend with the new fabrics that are coming. So don't miss out on those 21 fabrics. Just go to squareinasquare.com, and in the search bar put sale or fabric, and those pieces will pop up. You can also go back to Facebook, YouTube, any of those places, and watch the video from last Thursday where I showed you all of the fabrics and how they would work, and we talked about color and contrast in that particular one also. Okay, so let's trim our block up, and I'm going to do this one first because I feel like you can see it better because it's not black. So I'm going to put the 90. I'm going to push that 90 right into the corner. The black lines go right over the seam, and the grid line goes right through the point. Your hand will go flat, and you'll make your cut. Just like that. Sometimes people say, oh my gosh, you're wasting fabric. First of all, don't look at this. Look at this and look at this. Look at what you're getting. You're getting beautiful shapes, perfect points, great seam allowances that are smooth and flat and come together in your quilt the way that they're supposed to. And these, if they're small, I may not repurpose them in another quilt, but if they're a little bit larger, I will. I have boxes and boxes of, and in Quilt Club Week this year, each day we're going to talk about scraps and how to go back in and use all those little pieces. So in this one, you can see how I have the strips that go along the side, but on this one, I have those little trim offs. This was one of those little triangle trim offs, and you just sew them to the square. It doesn't have to be a strip. Of course, the ratio of the strip and the square have to be compatible here, and they have to be compatible here. And in Quilt Club Week, that's one of the things that I'm showing you, is how to go in and use these trim offs to make your basic squares. And then after you have your basic square, you're ready to go in and build any quilt with those, because this is how every quilt starts. It starts with the basic square. So let's trim all 4 corners. Now, as I go in and trim, I want to check the corner and the lines just like we did before, but I want to look at the fabric that's underneath and the lines that are on the ruler, and I want to make sure they look neat and that they look parallel. See these lines and that fabric? See how they look nice and neat? If they looked like that, see, that doesn't look nice and neat, and my block is not going to be square. So it's important, once you start making your cuts, keep it square. You've got to keep, and that means that this is going to be a good true 90. It's not going to be 86 or 94. It's going to stay 90. And just go around and do all 4 corners, and there's your option 1, just like that. And so that's going to go in the middle of your quilt. You're going to trim this one exactly the same with the 90 in the corners, and you get the black on 2 sides and the gray on the other 2. So the colors and the variations and the ways that you can mix them up are just pretty endless to create, I'm going to say, almost every design that's out there. So those are these 3 and these 2. So now the next thing is we need half square triangles to go here in what I call an hourglass block. When you have a square and a half square triangle and a square, I call that shape an hourglass, the way they come together and touch. I love it. And then of course you can see your half square triangles here in the corners of your bigger block. Now, if you have any questions, you can certainly ask those as we go along. So let's make our half square triangles. So here's our basic square. We've switched up our colors. We did our gray for the background and we did our black for our strips. And we're going to do a new trim. The trim is called the 2-step. So instead of leaving 1/4 of an inch on all 4 of these corners, we're going to make it nice and sharp. It's going to be a sharp point on two opposites. Actually, we're going to do a sharp point on all four sides. But see, there's that 1/4 of an inch like we did with these. But now we want to do the sharp, and we call that the Texas two-step. So when you look at your ruler, can we zoom down any closer so they can see the best that they can? And I can move it if I need to. Okay. Okay, so this first set of lines, they come together and touch, and that's the 90. The 90 is that little arc in between those two lines because they touch right there. See these other 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, they ripple off of the 90. And we're going to step it over 2. So there's 1, 2, and we're going to put the tip or the end of that line right there where it falls off the ruler, right smack in that corner. And we call it the Texas two-step because you're going to push it in there, and then you're going to step 1, 2, and then you're going to trim nice and sharp. So here's my 90, I'm pushing it in, and then I'm looking at my lines, and I know it's black on black and a little hard for you to see, but I'm just going to drag it 1, 2, and snug it in that corner, nice and sharp. The black line goes right over the seam, and when you come back to that point, you have a new grid line that shoots through and goes right through that opposite corner. Now these pieces are a little bit bigger. I'm definitely going to save those. I go ahead and cut them in half and stack them up so that they're easy to store and ready to get to for the next project. So now I'm just going to turn it, and I'm going to repeat. Put the 90 in there, step it in there, and then do 1, 2. And now that I've already cut on one side, I have to do what I did on the others. I have to look and make sure that it's looking nice and neat. And I'm doing all 4 corners with the two-step for half square triangles. So there's basically three things to learn. You need to understand that everything starts out with this basic square and that sizes and colors change. And then you need to understand how to trim leaving that 1/4 of an inch like we did here. And then you need to understand doing the two-step. And if you can do that, you're on your way to making beautiful quilts. Now, if I was doing this on a reel or something, someone would say, oh, you're trimming off your corners, you're not doing it right. But they don't know what we're doing. They don't know where we're headed. They're playing checkers and I'm playing chess. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to use the edge of my ruler and I'm going to put it right through those sharp points. I'm going to look at my lines and see how nice and square I'm staying. And I'm going to cut through that middle just like this. Now all of the work on a basic square is done in the straight of the grain. And this is how I've done it for 40 years. If you don't want to cut these strips selvage to selvage, then you can cut your strips at an angle. And I don't understand why people don't realize that. I don't understand why they don't realize it's up to them how they cut their strips. So if you cut selvage to selvage, when the human is doing the work of the cutting of the pieces, the sewing of the pieces, and the pressing of the pieces, everything is in that straight and is going to be good and perfect, and you're going to get these nice shapes that go into your quilt. For years, I did things the way that the traditional quilt world told me to do, and when I was the human doing the work of trying to get the half square triangle, I maybe had the straight on the outside and the bias on the inside, but I can tell you my block did not look like this. They looked all whoppy and crazy, and it seemed like you had to use the starch or you had to sew on paper and all of that, and I didn't want to do that. So if you rethink it and understand the science of patchwork, the human doing the work is when you're going to have trouble. So if the human doing the work will work in all of this straight of the grain, then everything is going to look perfect and nice to go into the quilt. There's nothing wrong with this. Now, obviously, I can mishandle it. I can throw a bunch of steam on it. I can throw a bunch of starch on it. But when it looks good, why do you want to do that? You use heat, you use moisture, you use steam when there's a problem and you're trying to change it. But there is no problem here. So there's no reason. We don't need to press it. We've already pressed it. We don't need any steam or starch. Think about your hair. Think about your hair. It's a natural fiber. Your cotton, all those little threads, it's just like your hair. It's a natural fiber. If you have curly hair, what do you do to change it? You add heat or you add steam to it, and it changes it. So you add the heat or you add the steam to change it. Think about if you have flat or straight hair. You get in humidity, you get in the steam, you get in the moisture. What happens? It gets even flatter. So that's how you change it, is you add the heat or the steam or a hair product or a fabric product like a starch. So if it already looks good, why do you want to change it? And it will look good because all of the work that the human did is in this. And I know people don't understand the square and a square system, and they don't know where we're headed with it, and they don't know. And they've been told forever by the quilt police, and I found out just in the last 2 weeks, there are still a lot of quilt police cops out there that think that they have to correct everything they see on YouTube. But they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand why we're trimming this certain way, and that you don't have to watch out for that bias edge. If you insist on doing it, then you can go in and cut all of those strips on the bias and do it. But it's a lot more work, and to me it's unnecessary. I have hundreds and hundreds of quilts that I have made over the past 40 years, and so do my students, because I've been teaching this forever, and they have beautiful quilts. I have walls and walls of quilts. I have ladders of quilts. I have given away tons of quilts. I have sold tons of quilts, and they all look great. But I also want to tell you, and this is when, when I started doing this, I realized there were even more quilt police back then. And I realized that I was doing everything different than everybody else in the quilt world. But I tried it the way they were doing it, and I wasn't having fun, and I wasn't fast, and my quilts were not fabulous, and they definitely were not finished because they didn't look the way I wanted them to look. And I got the opportunity to go to the Smithsonian. I thought I was going to see all of these beautiful quilts that the women had made over the hundreds of years. And when I got there, they were beautiful quilts. And I did enjoy looking at them. But there was not one perfect thing about any of those quilts that are hanging in the Smithsonian. And that's when I thought, you know what? I really don't care what the quilt police think or say. I'm going to make my quilts, I'm going to have fun doing it, they're going to look great, and I'm going to move forward. And so that's what I'm telling you, is to jump out there, be bold, move forward, try something. I also realized that insanity, which is where I was at, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's where I was at. I was doing everything the same way over and over again, and I did not get better results. I expected them because they told me I would, but I didn't. And so I jumped out there and I started doing this. And for the last 40 years, I've been sharing it with you. So those of you that want to come along with the ride and you want lots of beautiful quilts, then you need to jump on board and learn how to do this. Okay? All right, so let's look back down here. Yes?
They're kind of old, but
no dog ears to cut off. Exactly right. You have no dog ears. You have no papers to peel or buy or throw away. You don't have to, it just takes care of everything. No dog ears, no papers to peel, no grids to draw. You are just playing with your fabric and sewing it up and making a beautiful quilt and having a ton of fun. No diagonal ironing where everything distorts. Right. If you take the time to cut those on the diagonal, then when you come in to press those, they're on the diagonal. And that's the way the quilt police and the quilt world has been telling you to do it forever. And, it just doesn't work the way that I want it to. Okay, so let's look down here at our half square triangles. I'll push my soapbox away for a moment. And look at these. Look at this. Four beautiful half square triangles. And so in my block, I have 2 for here, and I have 2 for here. So I'm going to make 2 of these and I have the whole thing. Yes, there will always be quilt police. We just ignore them. Yes, we do. We do. We just ignore them and move on. Okay. All right, so if you have any questions about this particular one, I think you can see just how beautiful and easy that it is to do. And let's look one more time at this one, the Bird of Paradise. So if you have a large, beautiful piece of fabric that you want to showcase, this is a great one to do it. This block is easy peasy and very speedy. This one, you're going to come together very easy. Let me see what I think will take you to do this one. So we have to have 2 basic squares for the half square triangles, and we have 4, so this is 6. So you can actually, I'm going to give you lots of time. In 2 hours, you can cut these squares, sew them together, and trim them up, and be ready to go in your block. You can probably even have your block done in 2 hours. So you can do this whole quilt in just a few hours. And the more you do, the faster you'll go, and you'll understand what you're doing and be able to just move along very quickly and enjoy the process. It's not that it's all about speed. Years ago, I remember, you know, I was like, oh, this is so easy. It's so fast. It's so, we're jumping around a lot. Are we okay? Yeah. Okay. And one lady was sitting there and she said, I don't know why you're talking about making everything so fast. She said, I'm retired. She said, I enjoy the process of all of that. And she's right. We do want to take the time to enjoy the process of what we're doing, but we also want things to move along quick enough that we don't get bored with it. And we want to see success. We want to see how those beautiful fabrics come together and how they play off of each other. So here's this one in the Paradise with the diamond dots. And then I think I'm going to move the other one over so that they can see it better. And we can talk about this panel just a little bit. Okay, so we do have just a couple of kits, but some of this fabric is very limited, so I can't do much. So here you can do that corner just like we had with the bird, and then we have this beautiful setting block here. And I know someone's going to be driven crazy if I don't straighten that up a little bit. Okay, so, but these pieces in here come out of the panel after we've cut up our panel. These are the pieces that come out of the panel. We just kind of explode it. And then even this railroad track here is going to come out of the panel. So let's look at the panel.
Where are these patterns found?
You can go to our website, squareandasquare.com, and you can find all of our patterns, our books, our fabrics. What do you mean? What are they called?
The name of it?
Oh, East meets West. This one is East meets West, okay? And I have a really big piece here, and I don't want all of it to come undone, but I want you to be able to see the panel. So, and for those of you that are new to me, these are all of my own fabric designs. I love history, so I design a lot of fabric with the history. It's kind of how I get my inspiration sometimes. And I love the old 1800s and the reproductions. So this is the panel. So this was the west side of the country, and they went through the plains. They had more of the flat ground that they went through. They had the little pop-up towns that they actually carried on the train as they would move down another 10 miles or 15 miles. They measured their progress in miles, of how many miles they could do in a day or in a week or in a month. And it was the miles that the U.S. government paid them to help complete that railroad. And there's a lot of cool stories that go along with the train and the railroad connecting the United States. Of course, it happened, the Railroad Act came in 1862 with Lincoln, and he realized that it was something that the pioneers and the people of America needed to do, and not the government. So he gave incentives for different companies, different groups of people to come in and work on the railroad. And some of those incentives were that they got land that was on the side of the railroad so that they could sell, and different towns would pop up along that way. And of course, a lot of corruption. Anytime you have a lot of big business, and I don't know why, but anyway, a lot of corruption that was inside the railroad. So this was a lot of pioneers, a lot of Civil War soldiers. They actually started building, even though this was 1862, it was right when the Civil War started heating up. It, you know, kind of 60, 61 to 64, 65 in there, depending on what you just depend and on the Civil War. So it kind of got a backtrack and didn't really start until the Civil War was over. So the cool thing that I think about when I think about the railroad is the fact that the Civil War had been over, and it was North and South that was fighting each other, the North and the South fighting for what they believed in. But the railroad, and so that North and South, though they were not connected, you know, very much a division, even the Mason-Dixon line and all that. The war was over. The railroad was trying to be built to connect the United States with the East and the West, and all of those soldiers needed something to do. A lot of them didn't have homes or families to go back to, and they needed something to do, and they joined the railroad and they helped produce. So now you have Union soldiers, Civil War soldiers learning to get along. So it brought the North and South together, and it mended. It brought the East and West together, and it mended, and it was able to, a big part of healing the nation and putting it back together again. Do we have a question? Do you square up the pieces you cut from the panel before you add the side sections to the square? Yes. If so, how do you do it? Well, let me get into that here in just a minute. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Here's another one, kind of like that.
Don't let me forget to answer Victoria better. Will you have a webinar teaching us how to cut the panels so you can place them in the quilt? Actually, when this quilt came out, we did all of that, because this fabric's almost gone. So we taught this back in when it was 150 years old. So what year was that? I can't even think. Maybe about 5 years ago?
Something like that. Is it under the Transcontinental Railroad
video
series?
Yeah, so go to the teaching website, squareandsquare.net. In the search bar, just put railroad.
Well,
or what should they
have to be a premium member.
But not in just the webinars.
Oh, the webinars they wouldn't.
Yeah, there's stuff in just the webinars that's available to public.
Yeah, and they may even be able to look on Facebook or YouTube and just type in.
Yeah, but if you're in Premium Club, we had a whole semester on the railroad doing the history and everything. So if you're Premium Club, just go to that semester. If you're not Premium Club, go to the webinar section, and in the search bar, puts East meets West, puts railroad, and see what you can find in there. There's hundreds of hours in that teaching website, okay? And really, it's really pretty easy. I can do some stuff on paper, but I'm not prepared to cut the fabric on it today. So the middle, and then this side here started in California. Actually, 4 guys came together with a very limited amount of money, got organized, and they started building the railroad along the Sacramento, California area, and moving in to meet with the railroad coming this direction. They measured their progress in inches because they were going through mountains and granite, and they had a lot of pioneers and gold rush people who had gone out to the California and the West Coast, and they also had the Chinese immigrants. So there were so many different groups that came together to do this, and I love that about how people from all walks of life, people that knew each other, people that hated each other, people who a year ago were shooting at each other, all came together to make this and to make America connected with that railroad. So here you see the buffalo. It's not the, it's actually the railroad that made the buffaloes go extinct. We have the Indians. They had to build bridges. They had to go through granite. They had to go through mountains, and just the history of that side of it. And then this part here in the middle, it is a combination of some of the different statements that were made, and some of the telegraphs that went back and forth to tell the progress of it and that they were done, the golden spike and all of that. So this is just kind of a synopsis of some of those high points of the history. It was the Union Pacific that was on the east, and it was the Central that was on the west. And when they came together, when the East meets West came together May 10th of 1869, it then was turned into the Transcontinental Railroad. And this has taken off some of the steam in I can't remember, maybe, I think his name's Big Boy or something, one of the main steam engines. And just the looks of it, the dates of it, the two R's back to back coming together. And then this beautiful railroad track there along the edge. So it's really a cool panel that talks about history. And if you've been watching some of the things, America is coming up on its 250 year of history, and we have fabric to go into your quilts for that. And one of our lectures here this coming up, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do it, but I'm going to show you some of the patriotic quilts that we have made from some of those fabrics. And we have a question.
No, just comment.
I think the Transcontinental Quilt was in 2020 and East meets West in 2021. Okay, thank you.
So that'd be easy to find.
Yeah, so that'd be easy to find. Okay, so let's talk about, I'm not going to do it, but let's talk about exploding the quilt out. So this part right here is what we used in the middle. So I took this part right here because I thought it was the most important part, and I just cut the size out of it that I needed. So on my panel, I just cut it down like this, and then I cut my size, the size that I needed. And this is very easy to go on the back of your quilt. You can put the history part in the back of your quilt. And then I took the I took this part down here to go in that bottom corner, and this part here went in the top corner, and same thing, this went over in the left corner, and this went down in the bottom. So it's really very easy to do. And then all of the little leftover pieces around you can use in your block, in your option ones. Let's look down here at this one. We had those in here like this, and we'll look at the quilt again. So it's not difficult to do. And the quilt that we're doing this semester, we start here in just a couple of weeks with Quilt Club. I'm sorry, with Premium Club. We are using one of our patriotic fabrics that, would you grab the eagle flag?
Like a red eagle flag?
Yeah, the red or blue or white eagle flag. And I'm going to be showing you a lot. Whoa.
Sorry.
I married a baseball player, but he did not marry a baseball player. Okay. So this is one that we're going to be using in our quilt this semester. Now, obviously, you can use any fabric that you want, and you don't have to do it patriotic. But we're going to talk about on this one how to cut these pieces here, this strip here. So we're going to be doing a lot of, I thought that was falling, a lot of fussy cutting and how to get the most out of your piece and how to decide and how to measure and all that. So I'm really excited. And that's one thing that's taking me longer to get it ready to go is all of this extra fussy cutting and getting everything just the way we want, and each little piece positioned in the quilt, in that component, in that unit the way that we want. We've had lots of new Premium Club members getting ready and excited for the new semester. So if you're not, come and join us.
I'm going to put the screen down and I'm going to look at that camera.
Okay.
So you can talk, but I need to figure out this camera.
So the cameraman has to come fix something. That camera's on the...
Did that? Well, that one. What's it show on there?
It's showing all of this everywhere. Did you take down the wrong one? I didn't know we had a problem.
Well, I have a problem. You don't.
Oh, he has a problem. Okay, so while he's figuring out his problem over there, we're going to look at this quilt.
Let me put this up.
Okay.
I guess I did.
Did you take down the wrong one?
Yeah. Took down the wrong one. I wondered why my hand was in the way.
Got the live action going on here with a live video.
We may have to adjust that.
Okay. All right, we're coming right back here. Okay. Is that the one that's showing?
That's the one that's...
Okay, it is.
Okay.
So let me see.
So I guess the other one was down, but I'm not going to mess with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we're back.
That's my fault.
Okay, so here we can see the quilt again, and you can see how this little banner right here was up here in the panel. And so this was 1, 2, 3 in the actual piece of fabric, and we just cut it square. It's really very easy to do. And then we cut the bottom out, and then those leftover pieces we did here. Now you can get as crazy as you want with your fussy cutting. These are going to be on point, so I wouldn't worry about them so much, but these here in the middle, I would fussy cut those so that those are straight, and you get that extra little picture inside there from the trains. We have them, some of that train panel, that's part of the bridge over here, some of the buffaloes here. So you can fussy cut them so that they work in that placement the way that you want. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea and got you all excited about that. Let's look down here at the pattern. Got some questions, okay. How much of that flag fabric will we need? You know, I'm still working on all of that, on the fabric amounts, and because it's a border and we want it all in one strip, the quilt is about, I think it's about 60 by 60. So I would say that you need at least 2 yards so that you can have that 72 inches for the border. But we'll be getting to all of that. I was hoping that we could do all of that on this coming Monday, but we're going to do the get started and talk about the fabrics and all of that. And that will be Monday, August the 25th for our semester. You'll get to see the quilt, see the fabrics, have the quantities and all of that. And then if you need to order some stuff, you'll be able to order it and have time to do it, have time to get it. And then our very first class, if I go with my lesson plans that I have made, our very first class of Premium Club will be cutting that fabric so that we'll have it all cut so that when we get ready to use it each Monday in class, we can have it all cut and ready and done. So hopefully that helped you and gave you a little bit of information.
I have a question. If you could show 2 fabrics.
Okay, show 2 fabrics. Okay, can you put the pink diamond dot with the gray floral? Oh yes, Pamela, you can, and it's exquisite. You could do the pink. So if you didn't want the aqua in here, let's look at the block. You could use the pink diamond dot, and the pink diamond dot and the pink bird. Those are two that are on sale. And let me grab it. And next week when I do the trunk show, you're going to see some more of these paradise fabrics. So. Now, you're not going to have quite as much contrast in there. You still will, but it'll be a little bit different. It won't react as an accent like this blue does, but it definitely will go with it, and you do have a contrast on it. Okay? All right, do we have a couple more questions?
I'll put a link for the eagle fabric.
Okay, so this is your kit. Here's your East meets West pattern. And then you're going to have your fabric, your panel. And it also is for the back of the quilt. So you're going to get the back with it. You have your elements and all of this the kits are not on sale, but the train fabric is on sale on the website. We have the elements. This one is out. You cannot just go and order this one. The only way to get this one is in the kit because there's no more of it. And then we have our tattered and torn background. So those are the fabrics you're going to get in the kit and your pattern. And that's the East meets West. Okay, any questions before we move on to the next one? Okay. Now, the next one we're going to show you is Americana. And Americana is this one right here. It's probably one of my most used patterns for many reasons. It is been made hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times for Quilts of Valor. Every time I have a new fabric collection come out, I make a quilt out of those new fabrics, and I do it for my Americana pattern because it's just so pretty. And it looks great in every combo that you want to do. And this one's very easy to do. We just make a star, and then we do a strata of strips to go along with it. And this star is very easy to do with the option 3, the flying geese of the square in a square system. So let me move some of this real quick, and we'll show some flying geese. So once again, let's look down here. Everything starts out with your basic square. You have your strips on the side, and of course decide on your colors the way that you want, whether you want them all the same or maybe you want a variety of colors. And we're going to do a combo of what we've already learned. We've learned how to do the 2-step, and we've learned how to leave a 1/4 of an inch. So to make our flying geese, you start out with your basic square. You trim 2 opposite corners, leaving the 1/4 of an inch, and you trim the other 2 opposite corners sharp or right up to the tip, doing that 2-step. So there's my 90, and I push it right in there, and I'm going to leave the 1/4 of an inch on that corner and on the opposite corner. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do sharp. I'm going to do the 2-step. Now, if you realize that the 2-step is done when you're cutting through those corners, think about the half square triangles, how we cut through those 4 corners. So let's look at the half square triangle real quick again. Okay, so see how we 2-stepped all 4 corners and we cut through all 4 corners. So here on the flying geese, we don't cut both directions. We only cut one direction, so we 2-step one direction. So there's the 2-step. Here's the 4th. Now I want you to notice on this one how we did the color placement, how we did same color, same sides. So same color on on these opposite sides, same color on those opposite sides. And I want you to look what happens to your star. So I don't know where my other little flying goose went. Here it is. So when you put 4 of them together, there's your star. So no wonder this quilt goes together so fast. This is your star. But when you do your colors like we did here, look how they're the same. See how those colors match up the same. So if you wanted to do like a flying goose border, see how you could do 2 different colors, a color at the top, color at the bottom. But when you do your stars, look how they just alternate. See? It's very easy. And it looks like you went to extra trouble to get that star and those star points different. Now, look how smooth this is. Look how square. Look how flat. Look how perfect your points and your seam allowances are. Who wouldn't want to make something like this, where your work looks great? You know, usually by the time you get to these points, you're already thinking about, okay, I'm going to have to fix this. This one's a little off, and man, I wish, you know, I messed up over here. But look at this. Look at this. I mean, why would the quilt police get upset with this? You can tell I've been rubbed with some sandpaper this week on social media. I'm a little perturbed.
This is Monday, Jody.
This is Monday. Hide and watch for the rest of the week, right? Okay, so we're going to put our star together with our flying geese, and then we just do a strata of strips. So you're just going to take your colors that you want for your strata of strips, and you cut them selvage to selvage, sew them together, and you're going to get 3 sections. You're going to get like 3 of these out of 1 strata of strips. And you're just going to have your strata, have your star, have your strata, have your star. So let's look at this up here again. And let's look. So there's your star. Look how we put that railroad in the middle. Did the black star on the points, but the elements, I showed you the red element. There's the beige. And then there's your strata of strips. And a star, strata of strips, and so on. So you can see how easy this is going to be. Yeah. Now, the only thing on this one that I always warn everybody about is notice how the white, and it really doesn't matter, just keep your colors consistent. See in this row how the white is at the top and your star is at the left. And that's what you need for this row and every other row. And then here in the middle on this one, if you make them like that, so if you flip it around and the star is here, see how the red would be at the top. So one row, you can put the star on the left, white at the top, and then the other row, the star can be on the left, but the red has to be at the top so that when you turn them and start sewing them together, you have that every other, the white and the red and the white and the red and the white and the red. Or you can just go in and make those, and then go in and make these. So however you understand it and can do it. Now, on these railroad kits, like I said, whether it's East meets West or this one, they're very limited. So this one on the railroad, it's $134. It's 73 by 80. And you have your black star, your red track. And if you order the back, there's your elements. Isn't that pretty? Some black check, and then your red elements. And if you order your back, if you look on all of your kits on the website, if you order your back, when you order your kit, then you get a discounted price on that. And 73 by 80 is this one. And the East meets West, I don't know the size on it. I don't think it was on the top of the pattern. But I'm going to say about 40 by 40 estimate on it. Okay. Now I have one more railroad quilt I want to show you. It's called Union Square.
On those strata, are you able to say anything about the
A 9-patch on the strata. Would you be able to demonstrate the 9-patch ruler today with those stratas? Well, the stratas have 4 strips on them, so I can't use those. A 9-patch has 3 strips. If I have something sewn up in my teaching drawer, I'll look. But you can also go to the if you go to .com and you look at the 9-patch ruler to purchase it, there's a video there. And then if you go to any of the, whether it's the website section or Quilt Club or Premium Club, you can go in there. In fact, there's one called Technique section. So for all of you, there's there at the teaching website, there's a whole section that's technique, and 9-patch is a technique. So if you go in there and watch, the official video is there that goes from start to finish and gives you all the details.
What is this one?
This one is Union Square, and I don't have any kits on the shelf, but I can probably make 1 or 2 of it if somebody wants it. I know one girl's got one on order, and I'm making hers. I maybe can make 1 or 2 more, but like I said, we're down to it on all of these. So this one here is just a flying goose here in the middle. We've used half square triangles on the side. We did that today. Option 1 in the middle. The block is put on point here, setting squares and side setting. Now in the fabric video that we did on Thursday, we talked about side setting triangles and how to know how much fabric for all of that. One of the things that I love, love, love about a side setting triangle, which are these red ones here, is how you can use a different color, like we've used a different color here, and how it makes a beautiful border. That red here is actually in the visual part of your quilt, it's your first border. As far as just a strip border, we have 1, 2, 3. We've used the track and the red, but it actually looks like the first border with color and the triangles. Now, if it was the same as your side setting, then it wouldn't look like a border. And that's actually the thing that I love about this quilt, and the thing that I think makes it, what I'm going to say, over the top beautiful and not just a pretty quilt, is this red in the side setting that goes with the red here of that big option 1. And once again, look at your quilts that you like and ask yourself, what's going on with color? It's contrast. As long as you have contrast with your pieces, then it's going to be pretty. What's important to show up? Make sure it's has a good contrast. It's important that this red right here shows up. You don't necessarily care about this one. This is not the bold part of the quilt, but I will tell you, on our everyday checks that we have, most of them react as a medium. And to me, if you can get the medium in a quilt correct, your quilt is going to be over the top beautiful, because that medium, if it's correct, it's going to have a contrast with your background, and it's going to have a contrast with your dark, and therefore make all of those different elements. I think something that's missing in a lot of quilts is the medium, and the medium is the most difficult, because a medium can look more dark, a medium can look more light, so it's getting that just right medium that makes your quilts beautiful. And then of course the points are black, so that's dominant. Your dark has to show up. Good. And then the background's got a little bit of stuff going on in the fabric, so it's not just plain. And that's your Union Square, option 1, option 3, and half square triangles, option 4. Beautiful quilt. I love that one. One of my most favorite quilts that I have. So let's see about, I'm going to dig for a minute and see if I have something for a 9-patch. Do we have other questions?
Just a comment.
Okay. The Diamonds by the Square book that I just received has excellent page view of the 9-patch ruler and the grande, yes. And it's also in the reference book 1, where you have, I call that a dashboard in the books. let's just kind of go through the products real quick. So here's the Diamonds by the Square book, options 17 to 18. Here's the options 18 to 39. Thank you for correcting me. Options 18 to 39. Options 1 through 17 here. This is book 1. This is book 2. So obviously this is the one you need first. And in the beginning of the book, see, they have the 4-patch ruler and then the different parts of it pointing to it. So it's like a dashboard of your car. It tells you how to read it. And then you have your 9-patch here. And then you have your pictures here of how to cut with your explanation. And then that also comes, these pictures and stuff are also in the book that comes with your 9-patch, 4-patch, and so on. And I know that we all love to see it done and that we all learn from the visuals, but you've got great pages here of backup. I'm guilty that I don't always want to read stuff. I just want to know how to do it, but we got to read stuff. And then other information, then your options, and then you've got 12 pages of charts in here, and then you've got 4-patch, 9-patch charts, pattern adapting. I mean, this is your main workbook, how to figure fabrics. I mean, this is the book I use every time I write a new pattern. I go back to the info in this book. You've got over 30 quilts using the options, and then the sizes are even broke down into other sizes besides what's in that pattern. For example, on this one, when you go to the beginning of the pattern, it says that it's a 12-inch block. Well, maybe you want something different. We go from a 12, 10, 6, 5, 4, and 3 on the sizes. So you've got over 50 sizes of blocks in here. And your Storm at Sea is here in the very back. Your revolved carpenter's wheel. And then your diamonds. You've got your patterns in your back. We've done Crown of Thorns. We did Pathway to the Stars in the past ones this summer. You've got all of your different stars in here, over 200 sizes. And then all of your charts. Look at all of those charts so that you can be very creative. And then it has your charts in here, 4-patch, 9-patch, and all that. Then this is your bat wing. So this is 45, 46, and 47, your new options. As the crow flies, we're going to teach this, I think next, is that? No, next, this is this is August 26th, As the Crow Flies, and 'Tis the Season. And then we have our fireflies. Now, I've gotten several questions about fireflies over the last week or two about sizing, that you don't have to change the size of your half square triangle to do the firefly. Your size is still the same. It's you just don't make that last cut. And when you go to the Firefly book on the website, you'll see the video that we did for it, where we go through and talk about all of the different characteristics and what the Firefly does and how to do it. And it is wonderful. It is a game changer. It allows you to put multiple half square triangle units together all at once. And it's just really cool. And I think I came across something right here when I was looking in here right before we started this today. If I can find it real quick. I think this is it. Just a quick thing on the Firefly is you're going to trim your block. Your sizing and your trimming is the same. So whatever size it tells you to go with that for your center and your strips. And of course you two-step all 4 corners. Now normally we cut and we get the 4 units. To do a firefly, you just cut one time. You don't cut that second time, and this is the firefly rectangle, and it's not a flying goose. See, you don't have that 1/4 of an inch on there. It's a firefly rectangle. So see, when you get 3 of those sewn together, see how that makes that blunted area in there? But when you cut it in half, so let's play like I've cut it in half, see how you have 3 half square triangles together, and they're not going to get twisted. So see, these are these three at the bottom, and these are these three at the top. So if I was wanting to make like Grizzly Mountain, it's like a bear paw with three. So that one goes on like one side, and this one goes on the other side. And they're not going to get twisted. You know, when you do half square triangles, if you can get them made great, that's great. But then when you get ready to start sewing them together, these get twisted. A square has 4 sides on it. So you've got to get, let's say that you're wanting them to go together like this. Well, there's 4 sides on the square, here and here, but only one side here and one side here is correct to sew together. So you've got 3 chances here and 3 chances here, which is 6 chances out of 8. So what is that, 75% chance or so? 3 chances out of 8. Anyway, of sewing it wrong. And that's why when you try to put half square triangles together, these, you know, will get turned wrong so that your color's not all going the way that you want it to go. When you do it as a Firefly, you have more accuracy, we remove more of the human element, and they're not going to get twisted. You're not going to have to rip them out. Because see, like you'll put them together here and you'll think, oh, that's okay. Well, you can pin it and, you know, get ready to sew it through the machine here. Or maybe you're just holding it and it gets sewn here, and then you open it up like this, and you're like, okay, that's not what I needed. I needed them all going the same direction. So it just helps you once they get made to get them sewn into that spot better. And once again, it helps remove a human element, which a human element is the opportunity for it not to be correct. Okay, I don't have any pieces in here for a 9 patch, so we're going to have to skip through it. But let me show you these other ones real quick here. And we're just about done, so if you have any questions, be sure and get them in. This is the hen house, and it shows the flying geese going together and then it becoming a square. And so you get all this wonderful motion and movement in the quilt without the hassle and the headache of doing it. I actually had this quilt in a guest bedroom when my youngest son was here for the month of July with his family, and he commented on this quilt that was hanging in that guest bedroom. I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times. He just loved it and just thought it was really unique and pretty. And of course, the hen house book.
Did you take it home?
No, he did comment on a quilt. Steve said, did he take it home? He did take 3 quilts home. I had one for him and his wife to go. They have a new apartment with an extra bedroom, so I sent a quilt home with them for there. And then I sent America quilt for the little 4-year-old that was having a birthday while he was here and all excited about birthdays and being in America. They live 8,000 miles away. And so I had made a quilt for him, and it's the We the People quilt. And we did a video on it earlier. Just look up We the People and you can go in and see it. He loved his quilt and is sleeping under it every night now. And then I had another one that was a smaller one that I had used as kind of like a tablecloth. And he commented on it 2 or 3 times. And finally I said, you know, you just need to put that one in your suitcase and take it home. And he didn't bat an eye. He did. It got loaded up and it's gone. Okay, let's look at 2 more books here. Of course, Batwing is our newest one. And option 41 is the Snowball. And then the Melee Women is a pattern book. It has 34 patterns in it, and just a variety of the options you need to make that. And then we have a bunch of individual patterns. Okay, so before we get done today, I want to remind you of the fabric sale. Take advantage of it. These fabrics will mix and blend with our new ones that are coming in November, and I think you really need them to go with them, and so take advantage of that while they're on a special price and promotion. And remember, these fabrics are ones that are current in stock, which means we've been selling these fabrics. You may already have them, but it means that we're at the end of the yardage of those fabrics. So we don't want you to miss out on those when they go with the new ones so well. And then I want to talk about this quilt right here, Steve, if we can go over on it. This one is the Watershed, and this is a double storm at sea. It's the main focus quilt that we're teaching during Quilt Club Week. I'll teach a little bit of it each day. It's option 1, option 2, option 7, and option 9 is a corner square. It is a square quilt. I think it's 74 by 74 if I remember correctly. And several people have asked if they can do it king size. Yes, you can. King size quilts are square, so that's nice. Sometimes it's hard to adapt a pattern from a square to more of a rectangle, and you just will increase this part right here. You'll just pump out, and each one of these rows you'll just add another section to the end of it, so it's pretty easy to do that. And once again, your color is going to be the hardest thing to decide how to do it, but you'll just increase these, make more of these blocks and add it to the end. Decide whether you want another red row, do you want another black row. If you can see how there's like the black, the red, the brown, the rows, so you'll just keep bumping out with those rows. And you'll add, let's say that this is 7-inch block here. When you add another 7-inch here and another 7-inch on the end, you're going to add 14 inches to the size of that quilt, so that would make it 74 and 14 is 88. So with adding one more section to the end of each row, it'll bump out to 88. So if you added 88 and another 14, what is that? 102. So if you add two sections to the end of each one, your quilt will be at that 102, which is like a big California king. So I think you can do it. But if you're going to do that, this fabric is extremely limited. I say order 2 kits because we won't have a back lot of fabric. If you decide you need more or you mess up or something, it's going to be difficult for us. And we usually always have more fabric in the wings waiting, but this one is at the end. And I only have, I'm going to guess, maybe 8 more kits for it. So if you're wanting it, and if you're wanting it king, do not delay. Now, I'm going to be teaching this one with the patriotic fabric, and we have kits for it. And I'm really wanting everyone to make a quilt for the 250-year celebration of America. And maybe you want this double storm at sea and this watershed to be your America 250-year celebration quilt. And so you can also do it with the Americana. And like I said, these are the samples that I'm using during Quilt Club Week to teach with. And so I've got almost half of it put together here so that you can get an idea of what it's going to look like, so that you can feel confident in ordering the kit for it. And then the quilt is just put together in rows. So I'm not sure how easy. Last time I tried to do this, I about knocked everything over. But I'm going to switch it so that you can see it, because it's really very easy to do. Options 1, 2, 7, and 9. Okay, here I come back. Okay, so here you can see how it's just put together in rows, and it's put together diagonally. And it's a storm at sea, double storm at sea. Okay, any last minute questions? Have I got everything put together? Go in and watch the video for the fabric sale. It was last Thursday. Go in and watch it. And we show the 21 prints that are current and that are on sale promotion now till the end of August. And we show the, 15 new ones that are coming. And we show how they all blend and come together. Okay? So it's a fun video to go watch. We talk about color and how to decide when it goes in a block, where to put it, and some of that. And there's also a sheet. There's 2 sheets that were on this email.
Yeah, on the email. And they're also loaded in Premium Club and under the webinar, free webinar section.
And it talks about, if I have 1 yard of fabric, what can I do with it? If I have 2 yards of fabric, what can I do with it? If I have 3 yards of fabric, what can I do with it? And if I have 4 yards of fabric, what can I do with it? And to make just a, and that's for normal, regular quilt size. Of course, if you go bigger to king, it's more, and if you go less, lap or twin or throw or whatever, it's less, but that was just kind of in the middle. So like a middle full queen size quilt, you need at least 12 yards of fabric to have enough to make that quilt. If you're going king, 20 yards is not that much to have. Okay? All right, any last minute questions on there? Okay, I'm going to be working hard all week cutting and shipping your fabric and getting the semester quilt ready to go. On Monday, I will see you again, and we're going to do Quilt Club Week Trunk Show. And then on Tuesday the 19th, so that's the 18th and 19th. Yeah, 18th is the Quilt Club Week Trunk Show Monday, and then Tuesday the 19th is the Double Star and the Pumpkin Star Fall Inspired with some fall colors. And then the next one, Monday, August the 25th, we're going to have Get Started for Semester. And then on Tuesday the 26th, we're going to do As the Crow Flies and 'Tis the Season. And then we'll start in with our September calendar, which you already have a page on that. Okay. Oh, and you get free shipping right now with the fabric sale of $150. So if you have fabric and books and stuff, and it's $150, you'll still get your free shipping. So take advantage of that. I'm always excited when I get free shipping somewhere. So take advantage of that and get your goodies ordered. Get ready for all of the fun stuff that we're going to do into the fall and the winter and spring.